On TVS, we join David Bobin for international grass track racing.
Simon Wigg, the blue-eyed boy of British Speedway, and the favourite for this coveted title. But this week he must take on Carl Meyer, the world long track champion, in a head-to-head clash. And we've two action-packed scraps from the sidecar event, where each week it's been tough stuff for Britain's best outfits. Europe's top grass track meeting is nearing a climax, and today we'll find out which riders qualify for the finals of this prestigious event, which this year celebrates its 10th anniversary. The fourth and final leg of racing will certainly provide all the answers. In the solos event, the top 10 point scorers will go through to the grand final. All that's left for the next 10 is the consolation final. So every point is crucial in this fourth qualifying leg, as grid positions in the final will favour the top point scorers. The same goes for sidecars, but here only the first 6 will make the showpiece final, the last major event in this year's grass track calendar. The next 6 will race in the consolation final. Well, that's the scene here on Salisbury Plain, a 10,000 crowd waiting for leg 4, so it's over now to our solos commentator, Barry Nutley.
As we move into the fourth leg of this competition, the pressure is really building, and 2 key men actually come to the line for this race. Numbers 14 and 1, and that's Marvin Cox and Steve Schofield respectively, and only 1 point separate them at this stage of the competition. So a nail-biting prospect for us in this, the first race of leg 4, and interestingly enough, in the 10-year history of this competition, it has never been won by anyone other than an Englishman, and the partisan crowd are anxious to see it stay in British hands. Of course, Simon Wigg's on a maximum, Schofield's on a maximum, Marvin Cox is only 1 point down, and he is a very fast gaiter indeed, and they are side by side into the first turn. Schofield it is, Marvin Cox down there in second, but looking as though he was losing it for third, but battling back and up to second now. Marvin Cox through into second. That distinctive white wheel disc. He's on the inside. Schofield's being pushed wide. This really is a stinger. Tremendous battle. Schofield has been pushed wide. In fact, Schofield has retired. Schofield is looking down at his machine. His chances have gone. Steve Schofield drift wide out of the reckoning and out of the overall running for the 1988 Ace of Aces. And the lead in this race is now safely in the hands of number 7, and that's Clayton Williams, who fell heavily in a previous race. But Clayton Williams, number 7, looking good and winning this one. Marvin Cox safely there in second. Number 24 in third is Steve Baker from Australia. So what disaster for Steve Schofield. Schofield, ridden brilliantly for a maximum so far in the competition, has gone out with apparently mechanical problems. He looked down, there's 1 lap to go. He can only sit and watch in utter disbelief. Disconsolate Steve Schofield cannot believe his ill fortune. The last lap flag is now out well and truly. Schofield is getting it, but he's not in the reckoning. The checkered flag now ready for number 7, Clayton Williams. Clayton Williams from Dimmock in Gloucestershire takes a well-earned win and a good second place for number 14. Marvin Cox, who collects 7 points, that does him no harm at all, takes him on to second place in the competition, but a good win by Clayton Williams, number 7.
Yes, Clayton Williams has only been on the fringe of the leading pack until now. He's making a last-ditch effort to reach the top 10. His task, of course, made easier by Steve Schofield's demise, with a close run thing until he pulled wide on the top bend, obviously with mechanical problems. And he'd won all 3 of his previous races. You obviously had a problem. What happened there?
The footrest broke on the...
A broken footrest?
Yeah, and I couldn't sort of put any weight on the... Just broke straight off.
Can you fix it?
We're going to try, yeah. Hopefully.
It's a bit of a job though, isn't it, to get that fixed quickly?
Yeah, we'll have to use the old one off the other bike.
Disappointing, isn't it? Because so far, touch wood, everything's gone all right.
Yeah, let's hope we don't go for the worst from now on.
Yeah, I mean, what happens if you can't fix it? Is it going to stop you?
Nah.
You just got to cope and compensate.
That's right. No, we got the other one off the other bike, so it should be okay.
Yeah, just a minor headache, really.
Hassle more than that.
Sidecar action now. Commentator David Duffield.
So Steve Dewson, number 2, together with his passionate Dave Ward, looking for maximum points this time. They started out with 17 points in the bag and should get a smooth ride straight into the final. They've had a couple of firsts and 1 second and looking confident here, and no wonder, because Steve Dewson is the British Masters champion. But the only challenge, I think, is going to come from him in this, the fourth leg of the ACE sidecar, will be from Rob Wilson, number 8. He is here with his passenger Vince Jones, and they've had quite an interesting afternoon, because Vince Jones press-ganged in to being his partner when Kevin Simmons couldn't ride. So Rob Wilson very pleased to take a first place in the third leg. Can he topple Steve Dewson this time? So there we are, the flag up now. They've got to come up to the tapes, and the 6 machines then lined up with this right-hand track, the opposite way around, of course, to the lads on the solos. The visor on the helmet as well for number 22, Terry Phillips and Kevin Williams. They're from Bournemouth, not far down the road, on their TJ Magnum, and they're on the extreme left-hand side of the gate. Number 1. There they go, look at the spray flying up to the back wheel, all the stones, all the flints, all the muck, and roaring down the hill now, like chariots into the Ben Hur film. They go around that corner. Fortunately, there's no knives on the wheels to chop away. They've just got to find the gap and get through it, and they come up with 3 and 4 laps to cover them in the lead then. Heading up there, Rob Wilson has got it. Now that really is a turn-up for the books for Rob Wilson to go into the lead. I thought he might be the man to challenge Steve Dewson, but Dewson, we know, has got an enormous amount of power, and as soon as he puts it on, Dewson can get amongst him, and there's Dewson hammering after the leader, Rob Wilson. This is the time, I think, if they come up the straight where Dewson can use the power to come fast, but he hasn't got it yet. That's a very good performance by Rob Wilson, still hanging on to the lead. So Rob Wilson and Vince Jones from Mason are still in the lead, and back in the third place there we have Mike Cameron. But that battle of I don't think that Steve Dewson is going to be happy behind the bits of grit being thrown up by number 8 Rob Wilson. Coming up now then, with 1 lap to go, Dewson has got to come fast. He's put his hand up, he's got troubles. Now then, he has, we know, got a crack in the crankshaft on his engine. It looks like he might have blown it. That might be curtains for Dewson. He was trying to make the machine last through the competition this afternoon, but that may be the exit for him and the exit from the overall Ace of Aces. We'll have to wait and see what will happen now on the point score as he coasts his 6th machine round. And a great win for Rob Wilson, who forced Dewson to push his bike to the limit. So Rob Wilson takes first place, number 15 behind in second place Mike Cameron. That was quite a turn up for the books, and in third place number 21, and that was Len Foreman and Ray Foreman from Warwick.
So more surprises, and that result is enough to put Rob Wilson into the final. Cameron and Foreman are unlikely to make it though. And what of Steve Dewson and Dave Ward? Halfway through that race they, like Steve Schofield, obviously had mechanical problems and limped home in 4th place. What's the problem?
We had a fuel line that came off on the 3rd lap, which basically the engine cut onto 1 cylinder.
Yeah.
And I was having to hold the fuel line together with my left hand as we were going round, so I didn't manage to keep my place, drop my place.
Can you get it fixed?
Oh yes, no problem.
No problem?
It's a simple job, yeah. Just I preferred it not to have happened.
Yeah. How are you feeling overall about the way things have gone so far?
It's okay, but it's very difficult coming from the back because the stones are so hard. But in the final you tend to forget about stones and just get on with trying to win the race.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're still optimistic? I know that you and Roger are still aiming for each other, if you like.
That's right. Well, it's 1 each when we've met, so I hope I'll be the one with the victory at the end of it.
We shall see. Wish you well.
Thank you very much.
So even the favourites can have problems. Only one more chance to win enough points for those finals, and the last-minute tinkering gets more and more frantic. So, decisive Ace of Aces action coming up in just a few minutes. Join us after this break.
MFI sale. The biggest kitchen and bedroom sale in Britain starts Boxing Day, 9 a.m. Every single Hygiena unit in every single style down in price. 10, 15, 20, up to 30% off. Hygiena kitchen units like this for only $19.99. Hygiena bedroom units like this for only $17.99. The great MFI sale starts Boxing Day, 9 a.m.
We would normally prefer to show you someone enjoying one of our products. But we realize there are times when you'd rather enjoy someone else's. All we ask is that you don't do both at the same time.
The Christmas double issue of TV Times has 16 days of holiday entertainment on ITV and Channel 4. All the big Christmas and New Year specials, the films, the plays, the comedy shows, and it offers 2 Christmas gifts, a golden pendant on your birth sign free, and for the over 60s, a rail card at half price. For the new year, a chance to win a superb Rover V.
Certainly one of the most popular characters here is the American Sam Malenko, a speedway star in his own right, but a novice at grass track.
Yeah, very much so. I made a commitment early this year, or late last year I should say, to give it a go this year and to do long track as well. And I did the Ace of Aces last year after coming back from injury. It was the only meeting I did last year after injury. And I really just rode it just to see what it's all about. And this year I had 2 bikes equipped and went out for the long track final. Made the long track final, my first attempt, and came 12th. Didn't do so good in the final, but I'm here today. I didn't really fancy my chance of winning. Who knows what's going to happen today. But to get the experience is important to me for next year.
How different is it to riding speedway?
Oh, so much different. I mean, I'm shaking, like really shaking, nervous, and the stomach, everything's going every which way right now because I'm not sure what to expect out there. I'm just trying to make a good start, stay consistent on the line. I made a mistake that last time, and I got pushed around a bit, so I know how tough some of these guys are out there. And for me, is just to be safe, have a good result if possible, and to learn something.
And also, of course, you're coping with the problem of racing downhill, and you've got a big wide track and plenty of room to go off maybe if something goes wrong.
Right, I got here a bit late today, so I missed the original practice, and I only had time to do it before they did their lap trials there. And going downhill really was odd to me because when I was going in, I meant to roll the throttle off to cut to the inside of the track, and it kept pushing me out.
Yeah.
So last time I went down the inside during the race, went down the inside and made the corner a bit, you know, and had to turn. But it was easier than it was in practice.
You say you're shaking, but are you enjoying it?
Oh, yeah, I enjoy an all-day event like this. Normally when we're racing Speedway, we get there an hour before the meeting. We do 5, 6 heats, and we go home, and it takes about 2 hours.
Yeah.
So this all-day event with the people, and luckily the sunshine shining, it's great. You can tell by the crowd. I mean, it's unbelievable how many people are here, and the enthusiasm seems good. I noticed a lot of fans appreciating the battle I had for second place, and that alone will keep me coming back.
Terrific, Sam. We wish you well and hope the rest of the day goes well for you.
Thank you.
And let's now see Sam in action.
An interesting level of talent come to the line for the third race. Sam Malenko, the Californian who rides for Wolves, number 22, has turned in a good ride, sitting on 16 points so far. And young Peter Lloyd riding number 10. Peter Lloyd, who works in the family welding business when he's not riding grass track or speedway, has ridden for Milton Keynes and has ridden for Oxford this year, comes from Coventry, rides the cross-frame Godden engine grass machine. Sudden Sam Malenko, number 22, called Sudden Sam because of the way he comes through from the back very, very quickly indeed. Quite near to the camera there, Will James from Cornwall as well. But Sam Malenko, the American who threw the spanner in the Danish works in the recent World Speedway final, could so easily have made it an American victory, but it didn't go his way. It went indeed to the Danes, but Sam is good. Sam Malenko is very fast indeed. Experience gets him out of the gate quickly. Easy going, dark, good-looking American. Has a good following among the young ladies in the two-wheel sport. At the end of the first lap, as they come round, it is indeed Sam Malenko in the lead. Number 9, Roland Dano for Sweden in second. So Malenko arrived at the meeting late, had to squeeze in a late practice session, slept on his shirt tail, was unable to get here in time to do the official practice. But nevertheless, it doesn't impair his ability. He's well in the lead, 10 machine lengths in the lead. Roland Dano in second place. In third place, it's Andy Smith from Manchester. So Andy Smith going well. Diminutive Andy Smith going very, very well indeed. Now the last lap flag, and Malenko some 15-20 machine lengths, and a rough calculation tells us that if Malenko does one more lap and gets the win, the 8 points might just be enough to get him through to the grand final, and I'm quite sure he's done his maths as well. That's exactly what he's going for, and he's looking very polished indeed now. Up goes the front wheel, a triumphant wheelie from Sutton Sam. One more turn to go, powers it out, 60 miles an hour, driving hard on opposite lock, and there goes the wheelie again. Over the line he goes to collect the maximum. So Sutton Sam, number 22, took the win. Number 9, Roland Dano it was, who came home in second place, and a good third for number 3, Andy Smith from Manchester.
America first, and that puts Sam Malenko safely into the grand final. Roland Dano from Sweden has also made it, but Andy Smith looks out of the running. Straight on now with the last qualifier for the sidecars.
In this last of the Ace of Aces sidecar fourth leg competitions, we're going to say goodbye, I'm sure, this time to Paul Pinpole and his delightful passenger Lisa. They haven't been able to get amongst the points, and that's not unexpected, because Paul Pinpole really came here on crutches something like about 4 months ago. He had a nasty accident. He broke his hip, his pelvis, his ribs and his knee, and he's hobbled here just for the experience of getting back into competition. And good luck to him this afternoon. And to Lisa Pinpole, just 21 years of age, who in fact went to her first Grasstrack Speedway meeting at the tender age of 6 weeks, and she took over from her dad as passenger of Paul. They go away now for the last time round this circuit, I'm sure. But out there, Steve Smith, Alan Blewett, Richard Piggott and Mike Baxter could all come out on top. This is one of the most open races we've had this afternoon for what I might call the also rounds. They won't like me saying that. These lads are going to be battling for second, third and fourth place and to get into the final. And they go through there, rammering round that circuit. There's nothing between them at the moment at all. This is a tremendous competition. Leading through then, number 9 on that time was Richard Piggott, known to his friends as Sid. Must have shares in British Gas, and he really has turned the heat on this time. So Sid out in front. Behind him then Mike Baxter, and in third place Alan Blewett. Well, Blewett's had a bad afternoon. He led in one of the earlier heats before we had to rerun it following a crash. He's now back in third place, one of those experienced riders in this race, but he's had a very troublesome afternoon. 43 years of age then in third place with his son John as his passenger. First time they've been together this season, but no doubt about out in front. Tremendous performance then by Richard Piggott, who's coming through. They come through now with 1 lap to go. You can see the lap board out. This is it for Richard Piggott going through. Close behind them then was number 6, Mike Baxter. And there's a lot of courage at the back, because up at one time in the fourth place we did get Paul Pinpole, and he's now in fourth as well. A tremendous ride by Paul Pinpole and Lisa. That is courage par excellence, to be going into this sort of competition after that nasty smash, and he's got to get fourth place. That's some consolation, but no doubt about the winner this afternoon, hammering across the line. Mike Baxter taking that one in fine style. So Richard Piggott in fine style from Mike Baxter. Piggott first, Baxter second.
But not everybody is qualified for the final. Frustration for Gary Jackson from Chester. Into the big finale go these 6, with Dewson and Misor still the hot favourites. The Pinpoles, by the way, qualified for the consolation final by finishing in the top 12. From time after time we've heard riders claim that this is a sport for all the family, and there's certainly proof in the pits. You're never too young to read the race programme. And the marshals also come in all shapes and sizes. But it's a serious business for the apprentice mechanics. Well, now to our feature race. It's Wig against Meyer and Morton, the last qualifier.
Number 17, Chris Morton, sitting on 20 points. Number 4, Karl Meyer from West Germany, also on 20 points. But number 25, Simon Wig, the Oxford Speedway rider, is on an unblemished maximum, has sailed to 24, and is looking at this stage in the proceedings as though he might just take the Ace of Aces title for the 3rd time. He really has hit form today. Martin Hagen also goes in this number 20, so a real wealth of talent, an awful lot of experience, some good English lads, and a sprinkling of top continental flavouring from number 4 Meyer, and he gated brilliantly. He anticipated that. He was so sharp, but Wiggy it is. Wiggy went straight across the bows of Karl Meyer, took almost the front out of his hand and said, "Thank you very much, this one is gonna be mine." And they are neck and neck. Meyer, look at that. Just look at that. Wig and Karl Meyer leaning on each other. Meyer around the outside, Wig taking him out, but Karl Meyer still it is, just a fraction in front as they come down past the commentary point. Simon Wig had the edge as they came up the hill, but Karl Meyer did it the hard way. He went all the way around the outside. And he's leaving the door open for Wiggy. Wiggy's got his head down. His bike looks a little bit slower than Karl Meyer's. He closes up going into the turns, nipped across the peg there on the inside of the track. Meyer looking at the inside line, 2 laps to go. This is a fire. This really is fast. Karl Meyer drifting wide. Simon Wig there hasn't given up at all. Meyer almost thrown over the handlebars. He found a bump there, and that lost him a split second, and Wiggy was quick to take advantage. And he's on the inside, Simon Wig, and powering hard. But Meyer leaning down, getting the back end out. The last lap flag being waved up, and now they're on their last lap. Martin Hagen's in 3rd place. Oh, but superb action from these two. The excitement from the crowd, they're waving their programs, they sense a home victory, but Karl Meyer is going for 8 points. Wig is going to get the 7, the checkered flag is out. Number 4, Karl Meyer from West Germany. 4 times world long track champion takes the win. Simon Wig comes home in 2nd. Martin Hagen, number 20, in 3rd. That was a race that had everybody on their feet, jumping and waving and cheering ecstatically, because it was a tremendous victory by Karl Meyer, but a brilliant fight for 2nd from Simon Wig.
A great race to end the qualifying stages, and that leaves us with this top 10. The leading 5 are Wig, Cox, Meyer, Schofield and Dano, while also earning a place in the final are Banks, Morton, Hagen, Malenko and the Australian Steve Baker. Well, if that last race was anything to go by, it promises to be a cracking final, with Meyer so nearly losing touch with his bike, but he still won.
Things are going well for you. It's been good so far. I'm not so happy. I had a little problems with my bikes.
Yeah?
One engine is finished now, and my 3rd race was it.
Yeah.
Now I have my reserved engine, but I can win. It was okay, but
Yes.
it was a very hard match, you know, with Simon.
How was that race? Didn't quite go according to plan?
Oh no, not really, you know, but Carl's a good rider, and I think with a day like today, I mean, if you don't make the start, you really got to know what the opposition's going to do, and it probably didn't hurt at all, you know, being out following man for 4 laps.
Next week, nobody will be happy to follow the leader around for 4 laps. So who's your money on? Steve Schofield? He won his first 3 races, of course, before that mishap in leg 4. Or the German master of the long track world, Karl Meyer, unhappy with his bike, but possibly running into form. Or Simon Wig. Meyer proved too good for him in leg 4, but he too has won 3 races. And if there's a dark horse, perhaps it's the American Sam Malenko, who started to master the rather English art of grass track racing. While in the sidecars, it's probably a 2-horse race, but there's always plenty of horsepower around when Steve Dewson and Roger Mesaw meet. Join us next week for the climax of the Ace of Aces.
They swing wide, and it looks like somebody else nearly went into the catch fence. That right-hander throws them out towards the fence, and the power was on. They go downhill. The sidecar begins to lift as well, but still in the lead there. It's Misa being hotly pursued by Steve Smith. Now, Steve Smith hasn't come here just for the journey too, because Steve Smith is a very strong competitor indeed. 40 years of age, with his partner John Mitton, 36 years of age. They're now hammering down that slope. Steve Smith, all the way from Sutton Coldfield, on his 960 NRE Wasp, but he's been challenged on the outside now. They come up towards the last lap. No doubt about it, Roger Mason and Dave Harris have got to stick to the front, but the change-up has zooming past them. Steve Dewson just went past Smith like he was nailed to the grass, and so we've now got 1 and 2 on the programme, and Dewson's trying to come down the outside. Dewson really is winding it up, putting the power on now, but as he left it too late, he's trying to go around the outside now. As on the inside, Misha knows he's got a challenge, but Misha swung out wide as Dewson comes up on the inside, but no, it's on the line. I think that went to Roger Misha, with Steve Dewson in second place and Smith back in third. What a race that was.